Emerging markets have long been known for growth potential, but what about income? That's where IWMI comes in, an ETF built to generate yield from emerging markets equities. But yield alone doesn't tell the whole story. Today we're not here for opinions, we're here for results. I'm running a full backtest on IWMI across market cycles to see what happens to your portfolio value, your realized income, and the total return when you harvest income versus reinvesting it. This isn't guesswork, this is data. So let's get into how IWMI really performs in real market conditions. Yield alone won't tell the story. Here's what the data shows, so stay tuned. Welcome back to Simply Money. For those who are new to the channel, thank you for joining us. If you like this video, find it informative, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really does help us out. I appreciate all of our subscribers who are joining us once again. Thank you for all that you do, your comments, your feedback, and your support of the channel. It is greatly appreciated. What we're doing here today is we're looking at an all-in scenario where we take a hypothetical amount. We take my income portfolio. What if I was to take my entire income portfolio and throw it into this one fund? And today we're looking at IWMI. How would it have performed if we had dripped it all, it did a 50% drip, or if we did a zero drip? And I have added a new feature to this spreadsheet, so stay tuned to the end where you'll see that. I'll show you what it can do. If you like these spreadsheets, check it out in the description down below and buy me a coffee. You can get a copy of the IWMI drip spreadsheet, and it is available there, and it has the new feature that I've added. So here's what we were at. We have June 28th, 2024. Share price was $50.02. This is a monthly paying ETF, and we were able to get 10,496 shares with our hypothetical $525,000 portfolio. And if you use this sheet, you're able to change any of the cells that are highlighted in yellow, and we'll show you some of these here in a moment. But that is the beginning where we started at, what we would hypothetically have done back in 2024. So about a year and a half that we're looking at with this fund. How is it done? How has it performed over this time? We're going to go down column B. We're just going to look month over month and see how the share price is done. And as we do that, you can see it started out at $50, went up slightly. The beginning of 2025, we had the tariff scare here in April. You can see it dropped down to $42, but then it rebounded nicely. And as of the end of December 2025, it has gone up to $59.16. So in a year and a half, it's gained about 18.25% in market value. Now, the dividends, the distributions that it pays on a monthly basis, let's look at that. We have 54 cents starting out, got up into the 60 cents, dropped back down again when April came. It got down to 49 cents. I think that was the lowest one that it's had. And then it's come down, and it has averaged 58 cents per month. So you can see it's been very consistent. We've had a few a little bit up and a few a little bit down, but it is average right where it's paying. This last month, 59 cents. The month before, 57 cents. Month before, 59 cents, 58 cents. And it has averaged 58 cents. It's right in that amount month over month. So in this column, column D, what we do is we simulate doing a full drip where we take the distribution. It pays us because we have this 10,496 shares. It pays us $54.50 per share, and that paid us $5,720, and we were able to buy more shares. And here you can see the column G, the total now is 10,610. So 114 shares we were able to buy this first month, and we keep doing that. So you'll see this column D, these distributions growing exponentially, especially when you have some higher payments. But with this consistent payment, you're going to see this growing because you're adding shares month over month and still getting paid a nice average 58 cents per share, but you're gaining more and more shares each month. As we end, you can see the last 4 months have been over $7,000 and the latest $7,800 that it paid. and we gained 2,671 shares in this time frame. During this year and a half, it has paid us $130,000 that we have bought more shares. And so that brings us to column I, the full value with DRIP. What is the value, the $525,000 with dripping fully? And as you look down here, you can see there were some times it actually dropped below your initial value. And so imagine in this time frame, you're owning this, you're dripping it. You're like, oh, I'm almost a year into this fund and I'm down. Look here at April 28, 2025. If you had been dripping 100%, you'd look at your portfolio, you'd be like, oh my God, this fund, absolutely trash. I'm down $15,000 after a year and I've been dripping constantly. This is trash. I'm out. But look what happened. If you'd held on and continued because you've added all these shares, your ending balance is 778. Just 9 months later, you regained your initial value, but then you've grown because you're adding all those shares. And during this downturn, this little drawback, you're able to buy even more shares because the price was much lower. And over the course of this year and a half, you have increased your portfolio by $254,000. So a very nice, healthy growth of 48.38% in a year and a half. Excellent return. Now, over in this column, we're going to look at what if you did a 50% drip. You took half of the money, which is this amount. This amount, for those who are new, this amount represents half of the distribution. So this first month, you get $28.60 and you buy more shares and you add that to your share count here in column H. But you also get $28.60 that you take home. So just imagine you're getting the same amount twice. This amount you're buying more shares, and this amount you're taking out as cash. As we come down to the bottom here, you can see that you've been given and distributed $61,701, and you've also used that amount to buy more shares. So you got 1,264 shares. This fund has paid out a nice, healthy distribution in a year and a half, and it has continued to grow. So as we come over to the market value on a 50% drip, again, you see the red, you see it lasted a little bit longer. Why? Because you had fewer shares. So it took a little longer to recover. It went down a little bit further. Let's look right here at its lowest, 477. 478, right in that range. You know, again, time frame, you'd be like, oh, this fund is trash. But you got to remember, you've also taken out $61,000. When you come to the end, you've gained $170,000 in your value on top of that $61,000 that you've received in distributions. And we'll go over the total return of all three of these scenarios here in a moment. The last scenario is what we do is zero drip. You put your money in and you're taking the distribution. You're taking every penny of it out. You're not buying more shares. So you have this 10,496 shares, and that's what you have all the way through. So you're going to see that this distribution stays pretty consistent because this dividend has been consistent, but you're not going to see it growing like you did over in the full drip because you didn't add in 2,600 more shares. But you can see a nice healthy 5,700, 6,000, 7,000. It's been very consistent. You've averaged over this time frame $6,494. So $6,500 a month that you've averaged on this. And total, you've received $117,000 in distributions. With that being said, we come over to the value of your share value, your portfolio balance. Again, you can look and see when it started dropping, it dropped much further. We get down to $447,000 here. Then it starts climbing back up, but it takes longer to climb up because you're not adding more shares. And now at the end here, we finally got back into the green and we're up $95,000. It had a great rebound from that pullback. Again, this is short term, and this is great for those who are new to investing to see this. Now, we're going to focus on this and realize that when you hit these red marks and you see that your portfolio is down, this is where people begin to panic. They lose track of why did they get in this fund to begin with? Why are they holding it? Do they still see a strong future for this? Not talking a future tomorrow, next month. I'm talking long term. I see emerging markets as a long-term play, and I think long-term we'll see some great healthy growth. But we're going to have pullbacks. We're going to have bear markets. We're going to have recessions. You're going to see it dip like this. But let's look back at the full drip. We got up to 600,000 here, but then it pulled back and got down to 510,000. We're in the red. Up here, we were up 75,000. Down here, we're down 15,000 within a matter of just 6 months. But if you had that same amount of pullback now, but because you're sitting at $779,000, you'd probably still be in the green. And so you'd never be back in the negative. Doesn't mean you won't, because we can have larger pullbacks. You can have a 20%, 30% drawdown, and so you could end up back in the red. But you have to look long term, and it's very difficult on these newer funds because you don't have that track record to really see how it grows and grows, even though you have pullbacks and downturn markets and all that. So this is the total return on here. The full drip, you have $254,000 or 48.38% total return. And that's simply your share value. You bought more shares, your portfolio balance, that is your full return. With the 50% drip of the $61,700 that you received in cash, you have to count that toward your total return. And you have your increase in your portfolio balance of $170,000 here. That's a $232,000 increase or 44.27% total return. Again, very healthy. And see right below that on the full drip, you had a 32.25% annual. If you were to divide that by 18 and then multiply it for the year, this is what your average for an annual return. This is your total return. The 48.38 is total. In half, the 50% drip, 44% is your total return, and that's an annual return of 29.51%. Now with your zero drip, you have your distribution of $117,000 here, plus your $96,000 growth. That's $212,000, almost $213,000 of total growth between the growth of the portfolio and the cash you took out. That's a 40.54% return, total return. So all three of these are in the 40, almost 50% total return over a year and a half. The no drip, you had a 27.03 annual return. All three of these fared very well in the short term and recovered. This is what I like seeing. It recovered from pullbacks very strong. So nice fund to be in my opinion. If you want some diversification, want to get into some small cap market, IWMI is a good income focused small cap market. That's my opinion. You need to do your own due diligence. This is not financial advice, not a financial advisor. This is for information and educational purposes only. And along with that, I do not recommend putting all your money in one fund. No matter how good the fund is, you need to make sure you're diversifying. That's my opinion as well. So here we go. For those who have watched these videos before, we have our drip percentage calculator here. Here's where you can change. Instead of doing 100%, 50%, or no drip, you can put a percentage in here. If you say, I want to drip 40% and I'm going to keep 60%, you can see what that does. Or if you want to say, I want to do 30% drip and type that in, and it changes everything for you. All this carries down, and you can see this is the amount that you're dripping, adding more shares. This is the amount you're keeping, and then you can see how that did with that scenario. And you can change this from 0 to 100%, whatever you want. And so that's a nice feature to have. The reason we have this feature is some of these funds end in the negative drastically. And if we had done this just a month or two ago, we would have been doing that with the zero drip. And so maybe we'd say, okay, we want to drip 10% to make sure we keep our balance. So that's all that does. When they're all doing well, all three scenarios do well. This is just to say, okay, I want to get so much money per month, and so I need to drip, say, 30% to get $4,000 a month. But with that said, I've had people request this, so I've added this feature over here. We can actually put a dollar amount, not a percentage. So on here, we're going to say, I'm going to keep out $2,000, and you can change that if you want it to be $4,000, $10,000, whatever. What would that do to my portfolio? So we have $2,000 in that we're taking out. What it does is it takes the full distribution, it keeps out $2,000, and the rest is dripped and buys more shares. So if we want to do 3,000, type that in, and it updates everything for you. So this gives you the ability to add a dollar amount instead of a percentage. Now, with most brokerages, all the ones I know, if you know of one that's different, please let me know. You're either dripping 100% or not at all. And if you're not dripping at all, then you have to reinvest it manually. If you're set for drip, it's going to do 100%. If you say you want to do 30%, you would have to take out the full 100% and then put 30% of it back. That's what you can do here with dollar amounts if you want to do it that way and say, okay, I want to live on, or I want to supplement my income with $3,000 a month, and the rest I'm going to drip. What would that look like? And so you can change that and play with that, and it gives you your totals and returns here. And this is, again, a short period of time, but it gives you an idea of how it is performed in that time frame, and we can play with that and see how it does. We have other funds that will be coming out that has this new feature, so stay tuned for those as well. If there's a fund you'd like to see, throw that in the comments down below. What are your thoughts on IWMI? Share it with the community below. And again, if you have other funds you want to share to see a scenario like this, share that as well. We love your suggestions. We want to provide you what you want to see, and we'll continue to produce those as you request them. I have a whole list of them I'm working on, and we'll continue to try to get those out as quickly as possible. Again, thank you for your support. Thank you for joining us. If you found this information valuable, please, again, hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to share it on your social media. That really helps the algorithm say, hey, we want to share this video more because people like it, and that helps our channel more than you know. So thank you for all you do, and we'll see you next time on Simply Money.